Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about devastating changes to Doordash. So Doordash is no stranger to changes and updates, but some of the changes as of late have made some drivers start asking themselves some real life questions. What should my acceptance rate be? Should I pursue these other programs that have been introduced? Is it even worth it to drive for Doordash in 2024? So with that said, we are talking about some of the changes that Dashers are experiencing in recent days, what Doordash tells you versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over is very market dependent, and what applies to me in my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. Doordash tier system rating requirements. So the Dasher Rewards program that has been introduced in some markets has a tier system involved: silver, gold, and platinum. And while that is not in every market yet, within those markets that have that program have experienced a recent change where they went from requiring a 50 to 70% depending on what tier you're going for to now requiring a 60 to 80%. All minimums for acceptance rate. If you want to be platinum or if you want to be gold, you need an 80%. If you want to be silver, you need a 60%. Now again, this is not in all markets. In fact, we just went over an email from a subscriber. They didn't have the tier system in their market for the longest time. They just got it, and they lost platinum status for literally a minute, and it affected his entire ability to earn income. Now, with that said, it really is all just marketing and algorithmic bullshit. Like, I know that there are still cherry pickers out there that still do just fine, if not even better than some of the people who are consistently chasing the tier system. The real value in the tier system, at least in the eyes of most people, is Dash Now Anytime, or priority access to Dash Now, which is the new term. We'll go over that a different day. And the large order and pizza programs that have all conglomerated into the Dasher tier system. We're going to go over the large order program and pizza programs in a hot minute. But the reality is that a lot of drivers are still saying in their markets, and it's not every market, but in their markets, they're perfectly fine not even scheduling. They can Dash Now anytime. They're still making the same amount of money, but that's not everybody. The difference between being able to go online for DoorDash and not being able to go online for DoorDash is literally just having a 70% acceptance rate. The point is that the DoorDash tier system is not necessary for everybody, but for those that do require it, it's vital. It literally is the difference between being able to go online and not being able to go online. Large order program less valuable. Like I said, the LOP and the catering program and the pizza program, all of that is now part of the DoorDash tier system that is Dasher Rewards if it's in your market. Now, is it actually less valuable in the sense that because it's part of the tier system, it is less valuable? Well, on one hand, if you're losing money taking the lower cost orders, the lower value orders, only to have access to the larger orders, then that's a huge issue. But there are still people that are doing just fine without it. Zach Drives Fast, great example. He has a 7% acceptance rate on a consistent basis. Dashing Trader has a 38, 39% as of the last video that I saw of him. And I don't know if that's still the case. I just know that from based on what I've seen in recent videos, but that's not the only reason why the LOP may be considered less valuable. Think about it like this. The LOP is based on larger orders, right? And if you can get larger orders by not being a part of that tier system, but being a part of a program outside of DoorDash entirely, why wouldn't you, right? And then apps like Deliver That, Delivered, Zifty, Food Fetched, Red Wagon Delivers, King Courier, Time to Eat, SoFlo, NC Deliveries, they all keep popping up. Some of them are even in localized markets that I wouldn't even know about if I wanted to. But the point is that now that there are other ways to gain access to better programs, why wouldn't you just have access to said better programs? The tier system is now just not as good, period. The larger order program, if I don't have to take crappy orders to gain the access to larger orders, regardless of what app I'm using, even if I have to leave DoorDash and diversify my gig portfolio, which is vitally important regardless, to get better orders, why wouldn't I? In a gig economy environment-esque way, the LOP is just not as valuable anymore. It depreciated in value, for a lack of a better way to put it. Account locks and reviews. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I made videos on this, but a lot of people are reporting that their accounts have been locked and reviewed multiple times, to where people are finding more and more that it feels like micromanagement in such a way that sometimes they don't even get the money that they're supposed to be paid out. Sometimes it takes days when it's supposed to be a 24-hour turnaround. And sometimes it just ends up being a soft deactivation where they didn't really deactivate you. They just made it so that way you can't dash. Some people it's outright locking. Some people it's order reviews. Some people it's shadow banning to where the guy next to you can dash now and it looks like our market is relatively busy enough to accept drivers, but you've been gray all day. That's been seen fairly often. And no, it's not about acceptance rate for those keyboard warriors getting ready to march in the comments saying,
"Oh, it's because the acceptance rate is not high enough."
No, that's not the case, because two people standing next to each other, they both have the same ratings, and one person can get on and one person isn't. That's algorithmic discrimination, and that's just factually accurate. Either way, it just feels like there's a lot of micromanagement in this particular aspect of DoorDash. Other thoughts? Now, in my opinion, not all of these changes are all that bad. Like, there has been a new PIN number system that has dropped in some markets where some customers are required to put in a PIN number or they could set it that way. In my opinion, that's vital because you can fake a signature. We don't know the PIN numbers, and I think that'll combat some of the fraud that's been happening on the platform. So not all changes are bad, even though that was like a minor win in comparison to the rest. But it feels like they're preparing us to be employees, and if we're not employees, we're 1099 employees. I'll get to that in a second. Uncle Sam has been attacking DoorDash for, I don't know how long at this point. In my opinion, too damn long. And it only raises a question for us. Like, even if they manage to fight off Uncle Sam and New York City and Seattle and everybody else for the way they've set things up, the way they're losing money from doing that, will things stay like this even if they manage to keep independent contractors independent? Are they trying to teach us to be 1099 employees as opposed to 1099 independent contractors? There's no such thing as a 1099 employee on a tax level, but a 1099 employee is somebody who is on paper an independent contractor, but they still think like a W-2 employee. They're still treated like a W-2 employee. They have the same expectations, if not minor changes to what an independent contractor should be. And don't even get it twisted. Some of the changes are so like bare minimum just so that way they don't have to make the official change. But they're trying to teach new drivers to be 1099 employees, and the old drivers are either getting locked out, deactivated, hard deactivated, or soft deactivated for the most nonsensical reasons. And the amount of people that are thinking DoorDash is not even worth it in 2024 is astounding. It's absolutely astounding because pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, we were going off. People were making bank. People were making $200 a day with minimal work. Now, base pay has been slashed so deeply, it's like $2 per base pay. And that also includes stacked orders, by the way. You could have 2 orders in a single offer and it's still $2. It's gotten a lot more micromanaging, and overall, it's just hard to exist on the platform. Now, what would I say to do as an independent contractor, as a gig worker on these platforms? Same thing I would say all the time. Diversify your gig portfolio. Develop an exit strategy. The gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. It's not the goal. I sound like a broken record when I say that because it's good life advice. And if you were waiting until something to happen, start actually doing it What are you doing? Either way, I still think it's absolutely important to just do the work. Have as many platforms available to you as possible. If you're not on UberEats and Grubhub already, what are you doing? Are you on Instacart? Are you diversifying your niches into shopping apps and package delivery? Are you involved in any of the catering apps we discussed earlier? And what is your exit strategy in case all of this goes south? Because not only things like this can happen, you're a person that has a life. And what happens to people that have lives? Life happens. Maybe it's a health thing. Maybe you're getting older and it's about that time to retire. And you're only doing this for fun money. And if that's the case, great. But if you are one of those people who still need this to survive, you got to get on other apps and make some money that way. There is somebody who has been DMing me like crazy. I'm not going to name her name because some of the things she talks about are rather personal and I didn't really get permission for that. But she talked about having health issues and it's not easy for her to see in the dark. Are you going to be able to do gig work when your body is not able to? I know that a lot of people have a lot of medical expenses right now. They're just not in the most healthiest position. Are you prepared for that financially? Either way, it is your responsibility to look out for your financial future because the only person actually looking out for you is you. DoorDash is a business. They're going to look to make profit and to secure their financial future. We, on the other hand, are going to look for ways to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way by diversifying your gig portfolio, by developing an exit strategy, and doing what is best for you and your life. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.